Welcome to the Flip Thinking Podcast. In this podcast, you'll listen to intimate conversations between Berthold Gunster and his guests. Together, they'll explore the guest's personal problem and try to make it feel lighter or make it disappear altogether. This can be achieved in different ways. Sometimes they can simply solve the problem, but more often than not, they'll find that they have to let go of expectations or views they hold about themselves. At other times, they can only observe the fact that there is a problem without judging it. And in some cases, they can flip think the problem.
We'll find out where the conversation leads us.
Yes,
to have
very
fun.
curious.
Okay. Well, good afternoon. It's afternoon, right?
Yeah.
Good to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. What's your name? And can you tell me something about yourself?
Well, I'm Anouk. I'm 35. I currently live in Zoetermeer in the Netherlands. It's not where I'm from. I'm from Groningen in the north, north of the Netherlands. And yeah, I live by myself.
Do you do things? You get up in the morning and then?
I work in a theater, usually background engineering, but I do it in the public space, so I'm very visible while doing my job, which is odd in the industry. Usually you try to hide as an engineer or a technician, and
Okay, great questions to ask about that, but that's not why you're here. You're here for a problem,
yes,
a dilemma.
Dilemma.
So tell me, what's the problem?
I have attachment issues, as in I have a hard time getting attached to something or someone or a location.
Something or someone, both.
Yes,
so,
both. Or locations or anything like that. But once I'm attached, I have a very, very hard time letting go. And it's very selective in what it is. And I have no idea how to deal with it, especially around people. With things, I've sort of let it go because they're objects. But as soon as it's people, I have a very hard time.
So we skip the things, right?
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
But you just did, didn't you?
I don't, but I do. I don't know. It's a hard combination. It's
Maybe
odd.
Probably we'll figure out what they have in common, both of them. Yeah. But we can start with the people because the emotions are the most sharp.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, it feels like that.
Okay. Well, as I always like to start, can you give me an example? Where does this attachment problem occur? How does it look like?
I'll give you a very recent example. I recently met someone new, and there is a romantic interest there. But the first time we said, like, do you like to date? I got a very big panic attack. And I was like, no, absolutely not. This is impossible. Even though my feelings were like, yes, absolutely. I want to get closer to you. I want to get to know you. A few weeks after the panic, everything calmed down. I was like, yes, I want to get attached to you. I want to get
a few
involved.
Weeks. You said a few weeks.
A few weeks, yeah.
What's a few weeks? 1, 2, 5, 3?
I think it was a month, roughly.
Okay, yeah. So can you elaborate on a panic? How does it feel? What do you imagine? What are you afraid of?
I have no idea what I'm afraid of, but it feels like I'm choking and that I want to run away as fast as I can. And I freeze. I want to run away, but I freeze. Like my thoughts completely shut down. I don't know what I'm thinking. It's blank. If you ask me what I'm doing, I have no idea. I can be standing still in my living room for like 20 minutes and be like, oh, I was standing still. And
really?
Yeah.
In a state of shock?
In a complete state of shock.
And then you freeze?
And I freeze.
Well, that's a problem.
That's a problem.
Yeah, you convinced me. That's the problem. It's not nice.
It's not nice. No. It's also strange if it happens at work. Because it can just suddenly happen at work.
The same thing too.
Yeah.
It attacks you in a way, you could say.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so now being blank, standing there for 20 minutes.
Yes.
Is there any observation of you observing yourself in such a state?
Not at the time itself, but it sort of is stored in the back of my brain so I can recall afterwards what has happened. And that's also the moment where I click back, oh, I need to do something or at least move before people are like, are you okay? And move around and start doing things or try to get anything back to get action back into my head, into my being.
And how do you succeed in doing so?
It really depends on where I am at that point. If I'm at work, I'm like, okay, what was the list I had to do? What were the tasks? What's the next step that I have to do? If it's at home, I'm going to see if I can pet my cat or anything like that. Or if I'm standing there with a cup of coffee in my hand, I'm going to be, okay, now put the coffee down and just do something and then just get
so
out
this
of that
moment of
freezing
freeze
state.
is like a cloud, it's there, and then and in a way it's gone, but you don't know actually why it is gone.
I don't know what
it
the
comes
triggers.
and goes.
Yes.
In a way.
Yeah.
Without you having any control on this emotion and the state of being.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
And how long is this attached to your being?
As far as I know, it's always been. However, I've not been aware of it this intensely until this new romantic connection came into place. But just thinking back of it, I've always sort of had this. However, I'm 35. I had a 25 years really of deep depression.
Slow down a little. So you had a period of 25 years of depression.
25 years, yeah.
Okay.
That's as far as I can get back to where it started. So it was 9, roughly.
You were 9 when it started?
Yeah. And I have no idea what that trigger was. I do remember standing on the top of the building of where I grew up with the desire to jump down.
Oh my gosh. But you didn't because you're here.
But I didn't.
But you don't know what triggered your depression. You don't know.
I don't know. I have no idea. Most of my youth before that is extremely cloudy and unsure. Like I've seen pictures and be like, okay, so that happened, but I don't remember.
But this must have puzzled you tremendously, doesn't it? So what was my life until 9, and why did I get into depression? How did I end up standing on a building and wanting to jump at 9? Yeah. And 25 years being... Yeah. So this was till you were 34, quite recently?
33, 34, yeah. That's when my antidepressants kicked in.
Quite recently?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So, but this triggers all kinds of questions. Yes. How did you get in? How did you get out?
I got out with antidepressants. That's how I know.
And you still use them?
I still use them, yeah. My therapist at the time was like, at least keep using this for 3 years because it's working and it's been so long. I'm not sure if you stop now that it will continue to be okay.
All right, so be careful and cautious and step by step and take time for this.
Exactly.
Okay, now back to your attachment issues because you raise a lot of topics.
Sorry.
That's fine. I love people with a lot of problems. But you're entering this podcast with a question, and this is about attachment, and this is the question I want to help you with. So this is the you say red thread?
Yeah, red line.
Red line.
Yeah.
This is the red line of the conversation. Thank you very much for helping me out. And so, have you ever been attached to people?
Yes, I have been. I've had multiple romantic relationships. I also have family. I'm attached to my mom. I'm quite close to her. Mm-hmm. I have 2 sisters.
Is there a father?
I have a father, but I've cut off our contact about 8 years ago, roughly, because we were constantly fighting when we were together, and it was not a good thing for both of us. And it was like, this is just done. Yeah. I can't do it anymore.
Brothers, sisters?
2 sisters. Yeah,
all younger.
Sisters, all younger.
All younger. You're the oldest.
Yes.
So back to the attachments and the relationships you had and have. Were there severe breakups?
Yes, quite a lot. And they can get very intense. One of the breakups...
Give me the worst one, please.
One of the women I've dated... I'm gay, by the way, so that's also a good thing to know.
Good to know.
Yeah. One of the women I was with, I moved in with her after 3 months. She mostly decided that it was better if we just stopped dating.
3 months.
3 months.
What age did you have then?
25, roughly.
Okay. After 3 months, she said, we don't
we were dating for 2 years. I moved in with her.
2 years?
Yeah. And then after 3 months, she was like, you know what? No, I'm going to stop this.
How did you end up living together? Who decided so?
Our relationship just grew gradually. And it was just great, but I was studying in the Netherlands, in Groningen, and I graduated 2 years later, and I was like, I don't have a job right now. You do. We really want to spend more time together, be more together, so let's move in. And I'll go where you live. I'm just going to...
This was your initiative?
Both.
Yeah.
We both had talked about it, like, what's the best option here?
You grew gradually to this decision, so to say.
Yes.
And how were you then looking at your future at that moment before moving in?
Honestly, while I was in depression, this is
the best one. Yeah.
While I was in my depression, it was very hard to distinguish anything between those emotions. So I'm not quite sure. I was excited to go and be with her and be around her and just grow. I was excited in starting my new career because I just graduated. I didn't know anyone in that area, but that was like, I'm starting blank, so why not start blank over there and just build my life with her over there?
But you were, at that time in your life, still in this severe depression, right?
Yes, I was.
And of course she knew.
She knew.
And she accepted you being so,
Yes.
I presume, right?
Yeah.
And so I hear you say that you weren't that much in touch with your feelings at that time.
No.
You really didn't know what to feel and how to react to situation emotionally, can I say so?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
And I presume you loved her?
Yes, I did. A few of the things that really came through in my depression was like love and falling in love, grief for just letting go or people dying or pets dying, or extreme spikes of whatever emotion there would be. So those things would come through, but they would be spikes.
Yeah, not on a daily basis, so to say.
No.
Okay, so in this emotional state of depression, you moved in together, and you, of course, you loved her, and I presume you had the hope that you would be together for a long time.
Yes, absolutely.
So then she said, it's better to break up.
Yeah.
And I think this must be devastating for you.
It was
wasn't
devastating for me. It took me 2.5 months of not being able to get out of bed. You asked for the most severe one.
You can still stand still for 20 minutes in a room.
Yeah,
You're good at things. Yeah,
I'm good at
2.5
freezing.
months.
2.5 months.
It's like a state of freeze too, right? In a way.
Absolutely. I was at my mom's, and she just took care of the day-to-day things because I could barely do anything. I could sort of shower. I was happy with 1 meal a day. My cat was still there because my cat's currently 13. So I got him from a kitten. He was still around with me, and I got a lot of cuddles from him, but I was barely able to get out of bed.
And you lived together, but after you broke up, where did you live?
With my mother. She was like, okay, come back.
Yeah.
It's fine. I have a room.
Which was fine for you.
Yeah.
And a real help, I presume.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm not sure how I would have managed without.
And so also in this state of being, it was continuation of only feeling spikes, I presume, and being blank, lying in bed and not able to be in touch with life at that time.
Absolutely not.
So how did you get out?
Well, my mom was encouraging me to do something, find a job, find a hobby, anything.
Do something.
Move. Yes.
Yeah, move.
So I sort of, in that stupor of just being in bed, just started reacting to job sites and not sure if I would get anything. And then I got a cleaning job, and I had to get out of bed for that. So I got out of bed and I started moving, and slowly I sort of came back to reality.
To life, and in a way it helped you.
Yeah.
You were not motivated to clean, but you were motivated to get out of bed.
I was motivated to get out of bed, and I can clean. It's fine. It's not something you need a lot of mental space for either. You just do it. At least for me, it's
yeah. Now, looking back, at the moment she broke up with you, said it's better to split. Do you now have words for what that at that time meant for you? How did you feel? How did you think? And maybe you didn't feel that much then, but looking back, maybe you can have words for what happened to you at that time, what it did with you.
Physically, I felt extremely cold and I couldn't get warm. The moment she told me, like, I'm going to break up with you and I really want you to leave the house. And that cold stayed for a very long time. And at that moment, I was also, I have to get out of here right now. And I called a few friends that I was still in contact with. And they were like, yeah, I'll be there tomorrow. And they came the day after, and we got my stuff out of the house, and I was out. I was gone.
But did you understand at that time, or maybe now, why your life was so completely shattered because of this news? What was it that you just couldn't live on? Say, well, not with you, maybe on my own, maybe in the future with somebody else. What was it that your life was completely devastated by this news for staying 2.5 months in bed, right?
Well, I lived towards moving in with her for a while, and I had all my plans and everything I wanted to have at her location with her together, just building a life. And I had no other plans. So I had nothing.
You had no option B?
No, there was no space in my mind for that.
So your mother's offer was a great help. As an aside, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
So now what puzzles me is, because your problem is attachment.
Yes.
This is where we started, right?
Yes.
But you came up with 2 extra problems, which are, I think, grander, bigger, which is, I don't know what happened till I was 9. And then I was standing at the top of a building and wanted to jump, which I didn't. Thank you very much. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. But so there's this black period, a kind of hole in your life of whatever. And then there's 25 years of depression.
Yes.
So in between, I want to state that it's a miracle that you are here, and you don't. You do have problems, of course, you do. I won't, and you do have attachment problems. I guess we're still looking at, we're still investigating it. But I want to congratulate you for struggling out and fighting and being here.
Thank you.
In the same time.
Yeah.
How is it for you hearing me say that?
It's odd. Also, I barely talk about being depressed these days. So, or having depression or having had depression. I usually don't talk about it because it's not relevant anymore. Before that, I didn't talk about it because I was ashamed of it. In hindsight, I heard a lot of people didn't notice I was depressed. But you saying this is like, well, thank you.
How does it feel? Well, let's talk about your emotions. How does it feel? I do it again. Anouk, you did a great job. It's a miracle that you are here. You didn't jump. What happened in your life? You had 9 years, a kind of black hole, and 25 years of depression. And you're here. In a way, you look enthusiastic, inspiring, as if there's joy in your life. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is what I feel. So congratulations. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, how does it feel?
I think it's pride I made it this far. And thank you for acknowledging that. Yeah. And a bit also shame that I let it go on for that long.
Is it your fault?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
But in a way, emotionally, you think it is your fault. You let it happen, or at least you're hesitative about if it's your fault or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm unsure about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wonder how you will react to what I'm going to say now. When we look at your life, it's a miracle that you attach at all.
Okay.
Yeah, and that you are able to do so and are willing to do so and are enthusiastic about getting into relationships.
Yeah.
Being denied or people breaking up with you, if people don't want you, this is one of the most painful experiences for everybody. Now, your reaction is a little bit big, you know, freezing for 20 minutes and staying in bed for 2.5 months. It's a little bit too much, one might say. But it's not that strange, because if people deject you, if they don't want to see you anymore, this is really a deep, painful experience.
Yeah.
How would it be for you to see in a bigger picture of your life that this is one of your least problems? You learn, so you attach again, you fried again, you will freeze again. This will get less and less and less in the future. The bigger problem underlying all this, not knowing what happened to you when 9 years old and jumping off a building and 25 years depression, this is the big problem, and you handled this quite well until now. So I have the hope and prediction that the problems with attachment will be there still in the future. The rest of your life, like in everybody's life, there will be problems with being accepted or not. And in your case, they are deeper, stronger, and really overwhelming. So I acknowledge this. I don't try to make it smaller than it is. It is a big problem. But Anouk, you're doing quite well. Stay with the problem. Be afraid, like everybody is, that if you start a relation, it can end, which is terrifying. But trust on the process that during your life for the coming 5 or 10 or 15 years, if you are able to managing this depression as you are, also this problem will lessen in a way. So don't pay too much attention to it. Just say, well, this is how my body responds to such a catastrophe. It freezes. It's a little bit much.
It feels very extreme.
And it feels horrible, but it's a natural response of a woman. He had a not ordinary life. So you're doing quite well. Yeah. Be pleased with the fact that you feel this fear and that you feel being dejected, because this is your body works. Emotions are functioning.
Yeah.
How would it be if you would react, okay, I don't mind?
I don't want to have that part. I don't want to be like dismissive of any of that, because there's still connections. There's still emotions attached. We're We're hurting animals. We need the connection with other people.
Right.
They need to stay together. I understand that.
Yeah.
But it's the extreme part that I have an issue with. I don't want to freeze for 20 minutes at work or in my living room. I don't want to have... That's the thing that I'm struggling with.
Okay, now observing yourself freezing for 20 minutes and imagine yourself helicoptering above yourself, observing yourself and looking at Anouk completely freezing. So now when you observe yourself, what kind of woman or girl do you see?
That's a very good question.
Thank you. Yeah. So what do you see?
I see someone lost.
Lost in space.
Lost in space, lost in time, lost in whatever's happening.
So what would you say to her?
I have no idea. I'm not sure if anything that I will say at that moment will even enter my brain. Maybe in hindsight, but it won't do anything.
But imagine it would. What would you say?
Everything will be okay. Just look around. Everything's fine. Everything's still here. And then...
You're not dying?
I'm not dying, but also find every color of green in this room. Because if you say everything will be okay, it usually doesn't help anything.
No, because the brain knows. No, it's not.
It's not. Everything's bad.
Yeah.
No, just
I'm alone in the world. Everybody's leaving me. Nobody loves me. I will die.
That's sort of real panic. There's a saber-toothed tiger trying to attack me. No, that's not happening. So find every color green. How many things are there? Are they big? Are they small?
Yeah.
What kind of smell do you have right now? Just
everything
to really
that
come
helps you
grounding.
to get in the here and now.
Yeah.
To be there.
To be there and just maybe somewhere trigger me to do that if I'm in that position. If I'm outside of myself and just as an observer being
This is something you have done now and then, I presume,
yes.
right? And does it help?
Yes, it does.
Tell
But
me,
I can't do it to myself at that very moment.
Tell me the moment that helped you the best.
Oh, that's a very good question. And I have no idea how to answer that because I don't have a memory of it right now.
Yeah. But this is a kind of help this could be a kind of help in such a situation, although you're quite hesitant because you presume that you're not able to reach yourself in a way in such a state.
Yes.
Right. Now imagine you don't manage this problem. You don't manage it, right? Mm-hmm. And the problem is in control of you instead of the other way around. How would your future look like?
I imagine a lot of these panic attacks keep on going and starting to also obstruct whatever I want to go and achieve at that moment. Like whether it's getting the task done at work or at home or connecting to people and actually finding and accepting that connection.
Yeah, so the negative prediction would be that you won't attach.
Yeah.
Neither to work or people.
Mm-hmm, yes.
Things.
Locations,
things you mentioned in the beginning. Things.
Yes.
Okay, so this is a negative prediction.
Yes.
And a positive prediction, of course, would be that you overcome this problem, attach nicely, and live long happily ever after.
That would be very optimistic. What I hope to find is a way to at least manage it in a way that it's not in the way of where I'm trying to be. It's okay if it's there because the emotions happen. They will happen anyway. But it's in the way.
Yeah,
it feels very much
if you freeze at work for such a long period, that's not that nice, right?
It's not nice, and it might actually be against the production I'm working on at that very moment.
Yeah,
so
not really helpful.
No,
not really.
It's more counterproductive.
Back to you being asked if you want to get into a relationship.
Yeah,
and so then for 4 weeks, if I remember well, you were in a kind of state of despair or shock or whatever, having to think about it. And how did it end up? Did you say yes?
We haven't decided yet.
You haven't decided yet?
No, we're still in contact.
We are in the middle of this situation.
Yes.
So now we have concrete material to work on.
Exactly.
Do you feel free to mention her name?
Her name is Anouk.
Okay, Anouk. So tell me about Anouk. I think in a way, you like her. To say the least, right?
I really like her. Yeah. She's a very intelligent woman. Yeah, emotionally, we can really talk.
Yep.
She's also very open about difficult emotions, like the panic. She tried to help me out and through it.
She knows your background.
She knows my background.
Yep.
And I also told her, like, this just happened. just know that it can happen.
I froze.
Yeah.
I froze.
Yeah. I'm in a complete state of panic right now. And she was like, okay, just calm down, do the things. When we're together, it feels very natural. It feels like it's supposed to be like that. Just a really good, open connection. She's a very busy life. I have a very busy life. And we try to find moments to really be together. And we talk every day. We share each other's experiences. Like
It all feels completely natural.
It feels very normal and natural.
In flow and no doubts about love.
Well, that's where the panic comes in. I'm not sure if that's a doubt or not, but the connection is there and the openness and my willingness is there.
Yeah. So now we are looking at this specific dilemma, this situation, and you haven't said yes, right?
No.
No.
I also haven't said no.
Right.
Yeah.
You're, so now we are talking about something which is happening right now in your life.
Yes.
And if I can help you with this, and I think then in the same time, I help you with your big question, how is it with me and attachment styles, right? So do you have words for what you are afraid of?
I'm afraid of being open with her and really be vulnerable with and around her. And that she's like, well, you know what? No, I'm not going to do this.
You bore me.
Not necessarily bore me, but like, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with whatever you're doing or whatever. I don't want to deal with your emotional responses, or I don't want to deal with the explosiveness that comes out of this or the suddenness.
So you are afraid that a situation might occur in the future that she will deject you because of who you are in regards to your depression, your background.
Yes.
Am I correct? And how do you think that she thinks about you in such a moment that she dejects you? What's her negative image of you at that time?
If I go really deep down, it probably is like rejection of who I am.
Yeah. And who are you then in her experience?
Not worthy.
Yeah, not worthy.
Worthless.
Worthless.
Yes.
Yeah. More words, worthless. I help you a bit, crazy.
Yes, crazy, absolutely. In my life right now, I sometimes say, I'm just a crazy person and just keep going. Ha 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 ha.
No,
just laugh it away, but it really hurts.
Right.
If it actually will be perceived as such.
It's a joke with a lot of pain.
Yeah.
But you try to forget the pain, making the joke, right?
Yes, or at least make it lighter.
Right. Which I'm not very successful in. So no, maybe partly, but not
maybe partly, or at least to the outside world, make it lighter.
So now what I do know now, and this I find interesting, is that in the future, when she dejects you, and she might do so because everybody could do so.
Yeah.
For a normal person, watch the word normal with pauses before and after. Normal, right?
Normal,
I know.
Yeah.
Everybody's crazy in my opinion, and everybody's normal in my opinion too. So for me, this is not a topic. But for you, when she dejects you, you are not being just dejected, but for you, that would be a confirmation that you are actually crazy.
Yes.
And not worthy of anything. And I'm saying this with a smile.
Yeah.
And with a smile that carries a lot of pain. So, and with a lot of respect to who you are. I'm not joking in a way. Not at all.
No.
Because I can presume that in such a moment, this would be extremely painful. Having fought to where you are now, and then in the future being dejected because you are crazy or not worthy of anything, this would cause a tremendous pain.
Yes.
So now, and I understand why you freeze for 4 weeks or stand in your work office for 20 minutes, not doing anything. This is a pain nobody wants to experience.
I hope not.
But you could.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah, so this is the risk you take is tremendous because she might underline this negative self-image that you are a crazy, worthless person.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you very much for the confirmation. So now let's dive a little bit deeper into this being crazy person or not worth of anything. And you are making jokes about it, which I endorse. I think this is a good thing. Okay. But I want to look with you how you can make jokes about it, but on a deeper level, embrace this pain instead of pushing it away.
All right.
Right?
Yeah.
So let's be clear about, we have the same conclusion. You think about yourself as a crazy person, not worth of love of anybody.
Yes.
Yeah. This is how you think about yourself. And this is how your life actually feels in a way.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's a deep-rooted feeling.
It's a very deep-rooted
Very deep. In every cell, it will be there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. After 25 years of depression and 9 years not knowing where you come from and standing on a building, I want to jump, I want to jump. This is all completely logic for me.
Yeah.
So now, this is the key question of this podcast. this is how you feel about yourself. You have a thought about yourself,
Yes.
an observation, a self-image, negative self-image,
Yes.
and all kinds of feelings that go along with this negative self-image. Is this true? Is this a reality? Are you a crazy, worthless person? As a fact, as a scientific fact.
As a scientific fact, worthless, probably not. Crazy might. Yes. Yeah, there's more parts of society where I don't fit in, or I feel like I don't fit in. So in that way, I'm judging crazy as in, do I conform or fit into current society as we have it right now in this place?
Right. So let's investigate those both,
Yes.
crazy and worthless. Has there been a moment in your life that you observe yourself being sane, being able to think clearly and make decisions and have a talk?
No, absolutely not.
Not?
No.
But now you are crazy. Because look at how this conversation goes. I don't have the impression to talk with a crazy people. You can express your feelings, you can express your thoughts. You're quite clear about where you are here. You have a big problem. You are very well spoken about a lot of things. I do not experience you at this moment as a crazy person. Am I wrong?
I'm happy you don't.
Thank you very much. Now, I don't want to be too optimistic. I don't want to tell fairy tales to you. But I do not experience you at this time, in this moment, as a crazy person. Sorry for you. I do not. I know. You have to get used. You really have to get used to these words, don't you?
Yeah.
So what happens when I say this? Do you think I must be crazy? I don't see through you. I don't really know you. If I would know you, I would have a different opinion. Is this what your mind is doing right now?
Yes.
Yeah, I presume
Absolutely.
so. Yeah. So the best thing you can attain in life is that you are relatively sane for somebody who's actually crazy.
Yes.
Okay. Now I have here a stubborn guest. I won't get this out of your system quite easily, but this is my attempt. This is my intention. This is what I want to do. Again, are you always by definition crazy, and will you be so the rest of your life as a scientific fact? I'm exaggerating, but I'm very serious about this statement. Is this a truth for all the time? I will help you.
Scientifically, that's impossible.
I'll help you. It's impossible to be crazy all the time. You won't manage to stay alive.
No.
So there are at least moments of clear thinking, of normal behavior, of fitting in a way.
Yeah.
And in a way, and also you know by logic thinking that in a way everybody, of course, is crazy. This is what you know, right? Don't you?
No, I don't.
You don't?
No.
Do you really think that all people are normal?
Well, at least most of the time, yes.
But they do also act like they are. I don't regard myself as being normal. I don't want to be normal either. But you think you are a kind of person that doesn't fit. You're crazy, worth of nothing. And it's stubborn. It's ingrained in you.
It's very ingrained in me.
But
I usually when I behave like normal or I act like, I feel like it's an act. It's not. Yeah. Also, this is a little bit of an act. Like if I go full on crazy, no, then it's better just to get my coat and get out.
So this is a really deep-seated, ingrained, deep-rooted self-image. I am crazy.
Yeah.
So now, a few moments ago, you knew by logic thinking that this is not what you are all the time by definition from birth to death.
Yes.
There are moments of fitting in a way, of being able to think clearly.
Yes.
How is that possible for somebody who is crazy?
Acting like you fit in. At least this is mostly what it feels like. I'm acting as best of my ability to fit in how I think that society needs it. Like I go vote because that's a normal thing to do, and it's also helpful for the country that you're in. I have a house. I finally have a house for myself.
Well, now let's turn tables. No, it's okay. It's just an act. It's a phony life. I believe you. I think in essence, in the core, you are crazy. This is all fake. This is a funny life you're making up, and you don't convince me. I'm taking the other position purposely, right? So how does it feel when I say this? Because these are words that are going through your mind, going through your head.
It feels like the truth.
It feels like the truth.
Yeah. That you don't believe me, like you're looking through. Yes, I can see it now.
You feel unveiled.
Yeah.
Revealed. Yeah. I had a lot of guests in this podcast, and then we come to a certain point You listen podcasts.
Yeah,
to
I've
our
listened to the podcast. Yeah.
And then you know that there's a certain point, it happens a lot, where we stumble upon, encounter a negative self-image.
Yes.
And you know from this podcast that when looking at this negative self-image, I and the guest can say, haha, this is what I think. Is this the truth? No, it's a thought. Just let go of the thought and go back to reality.
Yeah.
And try humor, and make fun of it, or stay calm, or be in here now by looking at green colors, and then you can let go of this negative self-image. So now I'm here having a guest in my podcast whose negative self-image is so stubborn and deeply ingrained that all these techniques to let go don't seem to work until now. But I don't give up because I'm crazy too. Yeah. So can you help me? I'm asking you to take my role. How could you possibly let go of this deeply ingrained negative self-image that you are crazy? There's a long silence here.
There's a long silence here, and
You're
I'm thinking really hard.
You're not freezing. You're thinking.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have thought about that though for myself. Like, how can I help myself, or how can I do it with a therapist? Like, can I give him a hint to help me out and just snap me out of it, or just let me think differently? I don't know.
Okay, I'll give it a try, an extra one,
Yes.
right? So how would it be to say, and to observe, and to know, I have had a crazy life, which is a fact.
Yeah.
And I've been in a crazy period of more than 20 years depression.
Yes.
And I have difficulties attached to people because I'm afraid they will leave me, and then they will confront me with that I'm actually a crazy person. So when you look at it as an outsider, this is, in a way, a crazy life. It is, it's a fact.
Okay.
But it... Thank you for the okay. You're just listening, right?
Yeah.
So how would it be to observe I showed crazy behavior? This is how my life looked like. I do not fit in normally in a lot of things in my behavior, but it all has to do with my behavior and not with my identity. So now and then, yes, I act crazy. Maybe I stand out. Maybe I'm not that normal as everybody else, but I can manage. But it's not about who I am. It's about what I do. And what I do is now and then strange, weird, whatever, crazy. But it's not about who I am. I don't allow my brain to take conclusions out of my behavior or my background on my identity. I won't allow my brain to do so. I am ... I don't know who I am. I am just here on Earth. ... Point. You say point, no dots, right?
It doesn't matter.
But point.
Yeah, period.
I just am. Who I am, the whole world, and especially me to begin with, has nothing to do with who I am. It's all about my behavior. Anouk, you are just here sitting here, and you now and then you might act crazy and weird and funny and say stupid things and have a weird background, a crazy problem. It's all about what you do. For me, you are just here, period. How would life be if you could live in such a light way?
Right now, it feels very odd to think of it that way. It's not a crazy or weird idea, but it feels odd.
And does feeling odd hampers you to embrace this idea?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay, then go back to this sentence. It's about my behavior. Go back to it's my behavior. It's not who I am. I'm just here. And I predict you won't manage all the time, because when you get into this relationship with this wonderful woman, intelligent, communicative, and she understands you, knows your background, she loves you, you want to be together, you want to start a real relationship. If she dejects you, then I predict that you will feel I am crazy at that time. I'm not worth of her because I am crazy. I predict that the chances are that you will think this. But you can also think at that moment, it's all about behavior. We didn't fit. We weren't a good match. I wasn't a good match for her. The way I behaved was not fulfilling her wishes or her desires. This can happen. People can deject one another. It's about what I did, probably, or we just didn't fit, or maybe what she did. Maybe you deject her. It could be too.
That's
could
also
be too,
possible,
right?
yeah.
But it's not about who I am. It's about what I do. It takes a lot of time to embrace this idea.
Yes. It's a very foreign idea.
Yeah. And in a way, you are managing this step by step by making jokes, I am crazy. but in a way superficial, and you're laughing it away. But how would it be to say so in a more serious way, also making jokes about it, but telling to people, this is really what I think. Isn't this weird? Ha, ha, ha. And then let the thought go. You are already doing this quite well. Do it just a little bit better. Oh, it's deep. It's
very deep. It's very deep.
I'm looking at you and you're thinking and thinking and thinking.
I'm also not sure how to react with words.
That's okay. No problem. Yeah. Do you think at the moment that you are crazy now?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think you have difficulty in this conversation at this point in time. Mm-hmm. That's all. It's about behavior. It's nothing about who you are. These conversations are hard. Yeah. And especially for you with your extremely complex background. Don't forget this.
Okay.
Very, very soft.
Shy.
There's a very soft, shy.
Yeah.
This isn't okay of a child younger than 9 years old. Vulnerable. Yes. Depending on other people like we all are.
Yeah.
But I think you relatively more than other people with your background story. Maybe, I don't know. So to my opinion, though this mustn't feel quite satisfactory, I think in a way we have reached our goal to find out what is it you have difficulties with attachment and saying yes to people if they invite you into a relationship. I'm trying to sum up now, right?
Yeah.
Let's summarize. If they deject you, they don't only deject you, the relationship doesn't just end. You are at that point in time confronted with the fact that you deeply, deeply feel that you are crazy and not worth of attachments anyhow.
Yeah.
I think except from cats, but they can deject. They're just there, right?
Yes.
Did we find the root of your hesitation to attach?
Yes.
Okay. So we know the problem. Is this a solid yes?
That's a very good, yeah.
So we know the problem.
Yes.
Now the next question is how to get rid of the problem. And this is more stubborn. There you are.
It's very stubborn.
And this is not because you are stubborn, because you have a difficult, complex background and it's a difficult situation to master.
Yes.
So be loving to yourself and be gentle to yourself and caring. It's something you have difficulties with and probably will have in the future. But I hope from this podcast conversation, you draw for the rest of your life the conclusion, it is something I think about myself. It's not who I am, it's something I think who I am. And these two are completely different things. And we're not there yet. It will take you time. But I hope that if you can make this distinction, it's not about who I am, it's about my behavior. Yeah. And it's a thought, and the thought is not a reality. If you can make this distinction and make it in the future, that still being dejected is awfully painful. And still saying yes and getting into a relationship is very dangerous and very vulnerable for everybody. But for you, far, far more than for the average person. But hopefully this insight will help you to take the risk, to get into the relationship because you love her. When you speak about her, no doubt about that. And hopefully you stay together, live happily long and after. And the moment that you deject her or she dejects you, then this thought will be there. And hopefully by this podcast, it will help you to let it go.
I have to let it land, but I really hope so too.
Yeah. And when will you give a reply to her question? As you know, I want results, of course.
You want results.
Today, I phone her. I will app her now. No. Right.
Hopefully.
No, better question. Better question than timing is, how do you look at her proposal right now, at her wish to get into a real relationship? How do you look at it now, at the end of this podcast?
It's less scary. Also because she already accepts like my history and the way I react. Less scary. I can't give you a timeline.
No, don't. No.
Let's go planning. No.
Take your time.
Yeah.
Take your time. Be gentle with yourself.
Yeah.
So, to my conviction, we are at the end of this podcast now. Yours too?
Yeah.
Do you have some final words?
I just need to let this conversation land. And hopefully it won't take too long, but I can't say it right now.
Yeah, I think for a crazy person, you will need a lot of time.
I might.
Yeah, I think you don't understand completely. You don't understand at all. Just listen to it, and I think you won't understand. Yeah. Okay, I'm making fun.
I know. I can see it by your face.
Great to have you here, and I enjoy your company, and good to have you here. Yeah.
Thank you for letting me be here.
Okay, with all pleasure.
Do you want to flip think your own problem too? In Berthold Gunster's bestseller Flip Thinking, you will learn all about the life-changing art of turning problems into opportunities. Flip Thinking is available in England, Italy, Portugal, South Korea, United States, and soon in 17 other countries too. For info, check out flipthinking.info.